Empathy. Empathy is not the new mind control. And Elon Musk just scratched the surface. Hey guys, this is Masati. Welcome back, Masati on Sunday. I'm here still in Shanghai. It's an amazing culture, guys. An amazing city, billions of people in Shanghai. Just want to show you my view. It's quite beautiful. And as it gets darker, I'll flip the view around. There we go. Wow, it's still kind of bright out. Kind of amazing. It's a little darker. You'll start to see the lights again. Quite amazing. What an amazing view. I was looking at the sunset a bit earlier. So you guys are going to be seeing this in the morning. Actually, morning. 13 hours ahead of you. It's going to be late night for you, for me as I record this. Again, welcome back. Welcome to Masati on Sunday. We will talk about a lot of things that we can talk about. Again, a lot of Elon Musk is creating a lot of stir, which is really fantastic. So we'll talk about empathy, the new mind control, like I was talking about. We'll talk about Doge, Department of Government Efficiencies. We'll talk about DOS. I'll tell you what that is about, which is really cool. Talk about my new book, The Lexicon of Power, that's coming up. We'll talk about we won't talk about this, but it's amazing because I was in Egypt just recently. So what they found out, and this is what I predicted. I predicted this a long time ago. Went to Egypt just to understand it at a deeper level, and it's coming out now that obviously the pyramids and a lot of those weren't built. They weren't tombs, and they definitely were not built by the Egyptians. You could just tell when you walk in there. So I don't know how archaeologists got it wrong. Maybe they're just trying to, screw us over, not telling us the truth. But it's so obvious when you visit the temples, when you visit all the great cities. It's like, how the hell did they do that way back then, right? They didn't use the the hammer and chisel. Let me tell you that, right? Quite amazing, right? Quite so, and I talk about this because it's just like a knowledge that's there. Once you go there, you start to see the intelligence that created a civilization well before humans. And that's really the key. And I've got a paper coming out on it. I'll share it with you, especially for those who joined in on the ancient wisdom of Egypt and China, who was on there, comment in on the hyper meditations that we did there. Again, so let's jump in, guys. We've got a lot to talk about. Empathy is the new mind control, and Elon Musk just scratched the surface. And this is where Elon Musk, got in trouble for, just really pointing out the obvious, just like I do. I point out the obvious, and a lot of people get pissed off by it. A lot of you might have gotten pissed off. How many of you, when I scanned you, you had a session with me, which transformed your life? But in the beginning, I pointed something out, and you got pissed off about it. Right? You hated it, or your spouse, partner, it's like, watch out for that guy. How many of you have gone through that space, and now you go, shit, the guy was right, right? So let's give Elon a break here. Let's talk about what he really meant, right? Just to kind of clear the air on that, on what empathy is really about. So empathy, it's one of the most powerful human traits we possess. Again, it is one of the most powerful human traits we possess. And yet, it's also one of the most misunderstood and used abusively. So in today's world, it's one of the most dangerously exploited words. So when Elon Musk recently called empathy the fundamental weakness of Western civilization, he wasn't wrong. But he's not also seeing the full picture. Right? He's not at that XIQ, because the problem isn't empathy itself. The problem is what's been done to it. So through the lens of exponential intelligence, this isn't about feelings. It's about consciousness. It's about how the very architecture of your mind has been rewired by words, by meaning, by distortion. Think of it. Empathy was never meant to be a leash, but that's exactly what it's become. This is where, this is where your, healing mastery, right? We start to use empathy as a point of reference, and that's what this is what empathy is really about. So in natural intelligence, or the way the universe uses, say, empathy, or the reason why you even have, say, this concept or this feeling of being empathetic towards a person, is basically spatial referencing. How many of you spatial reference? Different layers of spatial referencing, right? So talk about Elon Musk, but spatial referencing is literally being empathic. It's really one of the best gifts. But how many of you who are empathic go, shit, it's a burden, right? Because you feel everybody's pain around you. And now the way the media does it, the way the government tells you, it's like, hey, you're supposed to feel more pain. You're supposed to get dumped on even more. You've been programmed to believe that empathy means sacrifice. It's not. Empathy is literally spatial referencing. So what that means for those who are new is basically telling you that, hey, they're they're creating themselves in a multidimensional realm out there, that they're troubled, they're addicted to something, their life is fucked up. What we do is in society go, hey, you know what? They're having a hard time. Their boat is leaking. You need to jump into that boat and suffer with them. That's what empathy has turned out to be. It's not, that's not what, say, God or the genetics is about. Empathy, it's all about, literally about telling you that, oh, they're in that realm and they're creating the problems, and I see how they're creating the problems. So it gives you a reference point compared to where you are, compared to how you see their problems. So you're supposed to learn from them. You're not supposed to get pulled into their dimension of time and space and recreate that. It doesn't help you. How many of you have done that, by the way? Right? You become empathetic, and over time, especially if you've raised your XIQ, you go, fuck, I don't want that anymore, right? You become empathetic. Back in the day, you become empathetic. What do? You start to see, you start to experience, you start to create the same problems, as the person you're trying to help. Especially if you're a healer, if you're, a teacher, if you're, in a healthcare profession, even in politics, right? You start to pull problems of the people around you. Well, one, you don't make a good leader that way. You can be empathetic in a natural way, and I'll explain how that works. Right? You can do it the right way. You can do it the exponentially intelligent way. Right. So literally, you've been reprogrammed. You've been programmed to believe that empathy means sacrifice. It means compliance. It means guilt. You've been told that you must feel what others feel, even if it costs you your peace, even if it drains your clarity, even if it erases your autonomy. And that's what they're trying to do. Literally, I can feel it in China, by the way. This is not the empathy that. This is what basically it's emotional slavery. That's what they're trying to do, like really rein you in, control you. So there are two kinds of empathy in this world. Okay, and let's just call them what they are. There's one, programmed empathy, what I was just talking about, and then natural empathy. Programmed empathy is what the system teaches you. It's reactive. It's triggered by guilt, shame, fear, and societal pressure. Maybe you've been programmed that way through your parents, right? Through schooling, through your religion, right? It demands that you give, but it never teaches you how to stay whole. It's the empathy that gets hijacked and used against you. And that's what we've been taught. And that's what Elon Musk was saying. It's like, hey, this is one of the worst weapons. It's weaponized empathy. It's weaponized emotions, right? They guilted you into a lot of things. Shit, they guilted you into like changing your genetics through vaccines and so on. That's how they got you. Crazy shit, right? So let me talk about natural empathy. So now natural empathy is something, it's something literally entirely different. It comes from clarity. It's born from a deeper connection to your infinite self. It doesn't pull you out of alignment, it expands your awareness. So, and again, that's what I was talking about. You start to become aware of how you're creating your reality, your world, compared to somebody that has, say, the problem. I'm not saying that you shouldn't help them. Elon Musk is not saying that you shouldn't help them. But what we're both saying, what Elon and I are both saying, is that you should not jump into the same boat that has a hole in it. Because if you jump into the same boat, you're both going to drown a lot faster. So what he was saying is like, guys, we're all jumping into boats trying to feel great, trying to help others, trying to love one another. It's not going to work. We're just all going to drown faster. He's basically saying, what I'm basically saying is literally, guys, look what they're doing. Look at what got them into the situation that they are in. No, if it's a person, a company, uh, society, as a species as a whole, and let's not do that anymore. Let's learn from it. Right? That's real empathy. So again, it doesn't pull you out of alignment. It expands your awareness. And this is where you can feel, you can care, you can respond, but you're not ruled by it. That's what true empathy feels like. It's not an obligation, but I would say it's a resonance. It's a frequency that allows you to, again, enhance who you are, which allows them to go, oh, see why they're solid. So you see, Elon was pointing to something real, but he just stopped a little short. He just didn't know. So because the real exploit, again, isn't empathy, the real exploit is language. Language has been used against you, words. The very definitions we live by have been rewritten. And when you change the meaning of a word, you change the behavior of a people, of a society, of a species. You literally change the structure of civilization. And empathy is just one of many. There's, what is it? Gosh, there's a ton of them. Honor, love. You've all redefined that, right? They've done it with intelligence, with time, with freedom, with wealth, and many other words that I talk about. Each one twisted, redefined, turned against you. And that's why I wrote, and I'm writing, the lexicon of power, not to teach you new words, but to bring back their highest form. Again, first principle definition of all those words, to restore order without control, to realign language with natural intelligence. Quite amazing, right? So again, many of you have asked, hey, Moss, do you have a book? Finally, guys, getting out there. It took a while, but and I think it was worth waiting for. Me, I'm more complete. I understand exponential intelligence, or the way this, the natural intelligence of the universe works. So again, I think it was quite worth it. So as I leave you with the concept of, as I leave you with the concept of empathy today, again, empathy is not your weakness. Empathy in its purest form, XI form, is one of your greatest strengths, but only when it's yours to command, only when it flows from clarity, not from program. Okay? It's time to reclaim it. It's time to reclaim all of it, the language, the truth, the power. Okay? The rewrite should begin now. And take a look out for my book. It's called Lexicon of Power. Let me know if you like. Obviously, let me know what you think about it, guys. Lexicon of Power. All right, guys. Let me show you. Let me show you this beautiful view. And here, talk about the next phase. Turn the lights up here. Quite beautiful. But amazing, isn't it? All right. What a beautiful view. Closer so you don't get the glare. Yeah, it's a crazy city, quite beautiful. Love the food, love everything. Haven't I've been working quite a bit on a lot of high-level people here. So I hasn't really gotten a chance to, go out and, explore the city, though we went shopping for a little bit. But and we went, went and saw the temples and so on. We climbed this mountain, which they had a temple right at the top of the mountain. You can take a look at some of the pictures, especially for those who did the ancient programming, right? Ancient wisdom of Egypt and China. Pretty crazy stuff. A lot of great content. I'll be talking about the Qin dynasty as well. some of the things that are coming up where the Egyptians, didn't build the tombs. I think there's a lot of that going around in the world, and I'm here to clean it up for you. Get the real story behind it. Right. Alrighty. So let's go. Let's talk about Elon Musk again, shall we? So this one is Elon Musk disrupts systems. I disrupt souls. So again, Elon Musk, he's been out there. Not the Elon Musk, not the meme version, not the tech billionaire, not the rebel, lighting up headlines or stirring controversy on X and everywhere in the world, right? Kind of crazy, right? Well, let's talk about his archetype. Let's talk about what he represents right now in human history, because we are in a story, whether we realize it or not. Okay, we are all what do they call it? Non-playable characters, NPCs. We might think we're playable characters. We might think we have an idea, but we're not. We really don't. And I'll talk about that, by the way, as well. That to break free, to be a real player, not just a non-playable character. And many of you are just playing roles, playing a role of a husband, a wife, a businesswoman, a shattered mother, abused an abused adult, so on, whatever it might be, an alcoholic, right, or a successful billionaire, whatever it is. This world needs those roles. So what do? This is the time that we're breaking away from those roles, and this is where again Elon is shaking up the world. I'm shaking up the world. We've been shaking it up for the past what, decade. How many of you ripping up your world? Right? How many of you create a ripples around you? It's really fantastic. So so some individuals, right? Some individuals show up not just as people, but as frequency markers. So you are a frequency marker. That's why you're here with Exxon. Okay. So this past week, Musk made headlines by helping rescue astronauts. That's kind of crazy, right? But let's think about the deeper aspects of it. Yeah. Restaurants that were stranded aboard the ISS. So SpaceX, not NASA, was the hand that reached out. And there's a lot of controversy behind that, because from what I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but the Biden administration, they didn't want Elon Musk to save them earlier, because it would tip, say, the ballot in Trump's favor, which is kind of crazy, right? It's like, well, let them die. Let them die out there because we want to win an election. Kind of tells you, the background or the natural intent of who people really are, when things become under pressure. I always say, it's like you should divorce somebody before you get married to them. You get to see the real, say, fabric that they're really big, that they really are made out of. It's kind of crazy. It's unfortunate. But gone through that as well. Gone through a lot of stuff. That's why I'm here telling you what not to do. Okay, I've gone through a lot of shit. But anyway, coming back to what Elon Musk, really did. If you really think about it, it wasn't a government system, and that's what's really cool, right? It wasn't a government system. It was a private enterprise, and that's huge. That's big, because whether you see him as a hero or a chaos agent, that moment meant something. It was a new phase of evolution that it just got activated. There's a lot of things that are being activated nowadays, right? You're seeing more and more stuff come out of the news. This is what's happening. So we are now in an age where governments are no longer the gatekeepers of progress, which is really, really fantastic. So when governments, and this is where, if you really think about it, this is where governments, it sounds crazy, but as governments lose control of the masses, okay? And this is what you'll find at a government level. I'm just talking about the government level, but even at a personal level. So as the government loses, say, control of the masses, here in China and anywhere else, they'll start to glob onto you and clamp onto you more. How many of you at your personal level, as you say, become stronger and stronger, how like your spouse, your partner, right? Whether it's business or personal, did they glob on, right? Because of their own insecurity. So this is the sign that most people. This is the sign again that people they're not your great gatekeepers anymore. They're not gatekeepers of progress. This is private consciousness. So that's a company that's coming out, but that's save the astronauts. But this is more than that because the next step is you taking on your own responsibility, your own path. So it's private. So it's private consciousnesses. Again, it's not the government. So you can't go, well, the government. Do you remember like when Trump won and it's like, shit, I'm leaving the U.S. So there's gosh, there's quite a few that committed suicide. Kind of crazy, right? If you're waiting on that, it's not going to work out, guys. You literally have to take control of yourself. So, and what and this is what's happening, whether it's in the government systems or private sectors or at a personal level, people aren't going to support you. You have to learn how to say maintain your stability. And this is where Doge came in, right? Department of Government Efficiencies is like, hey, fuck, if you're not putting out, you're not doing anything, you're not advancing society, you got to learn how to do that. That's all he was saying. So, so at the same time, you know, it feels really exciting, but it's also, it's very sobering for a lot of people because they literally go, shit, what am I putting into society? Because when progress moves, say, institutional hands to individual ones, there's a lot of questions. And this one question is like, what level of consciousness is behind that power? Okay? And here's where it gets real. So Musk recently said something that also caught my attention, and I alluded to it. I talked about it earlier. Said that I believe in empathy, but you need to have empathy for the whole of society. Okay, so again, he got it wrong because he's still defining empathy as everybody else does, and that's what I wanted to clarify. So that is a loaded statement. I can totally see where it could spark a lot of controversy, but because it breaks apart the narrative that empathy that people think it's sacred. So what he's really saying is when empathy becomes distorted, when it becomes selective or weaponized, it can actually destroy society. Just think about that. Most of us were taught that I don't know, empathy is enlightenment, that to feel someone's pain is the highest virtue. How many of you gone through that, guys? But what if you're empathizing with their wounds and ignoring the damage those wounds are causing? So in XI, totally define empathy like I just did earlier, right? So empathy isn't about sinking into somebody's trauma, it's about perceiving their essence beyond their identity, beyond their story. Now I'm talking about empathy again because there is a purpose. True empathy doesn't lower your frequency to meet pain. It literally holds the higher frequency of who they really are until they rise to meet it. Right? Today's society, people are getting forced to rise to the challenge. That's the kind of intelligence we need now. Because yes, Elon is building rockets. Yes, he's disrupting government systems. But that rescue mission, it wasn't just about space. That was about responsibility, about answering the question, who gets to carry the frequency of human evolution forward? And Musk, in his own way, said, hey, I will. I'm going to step out there. I'm going to go beyond what people expect. How many of you are willing to do that? Right? But here's the catch. Just because we can launch rockets doesn't mean we've evolved. Technology does not equal consciousness. Again, let me say that again. Technology does not equal consciousness. Access doesn't equal mastery. Okay. Let me say that again. Technology does not equal consciousness. And this is where you can see that technological advances go higher. Human catastrophes go go along with it. Human consciousness or the plight of humans should evolve as technology does. But why isn't it? And this is what Elon and many other great thinkers throughout history have failed to see. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what XI is about. This is what we do here with XI. So again, access doesn't equal mastery either. So if we take our trauma, our distortions, our fracture systems, and bring them to Mars, this is what This is what will happen. What would happen, right? We take all those distortions, our systems, bring them to Mars. We're not expanding. We're exporting dysfunction to a new planet. This is what we did with Australia. This is what we did with the USA, right? All the bullshit of England. What happened? We recreated. Probably even worse. We've done that with many countries that we've conquered. It's not going to be any different just by going to a new planet. So no, the real goal isn't really getting to Mars. The real goal is evolving the species that wants to go there. And that's where XI metascience comes in again. That's where exponential intelligence comes in. That's what we do. That's what you've done. Because right now, our tech is outpacing our intelligence. Quantum computing is stuck. AI is mimicking. It's not thinking. That's why AI wants to kill. Literally, AI wants to kill humans because what do we do? What have we done since the dawn of man? Literally, we've killed one another. So we've just created new methodologies, new technologies to kill each other faster. Crazy, right? That's why AI is mimicking the version of ChatGPT that's programmed under XI metascience. What it comes up with, train it to tap into the natural intelligence. So it goes beyond, say, the concepts just pulled from the internet. It's totally different. But amazing. And again, I promise on MOS on Sunday, you can ask some questions, and I'll throw it into ChatGPT and it'll answer it. So look out for that episode as well. Again, so AI, it's mimicking, it's not thinking, not conscious, biohacking, not optimizing broken baselines. Why? Well, because the consciousness behind it hasn't changed. We're still running. We literally are running the same code. Power equals control, value equals money, truth equals consensus. That doesn't work in higher realms, and that's what we're seeing. That won't work with sentient machines. That won't work when you're trying to build civilizations in space. That won't work for the new frontier that's coming up. That's why we need to raise XIQ, exponential intelligence quotient. Again, we need to raise your XIQ because when intelligence evolves, technology becomes an extension of your consciousness, not your replacement. So let me say it this way. So without elevated intelligence, AI is artificial mimicry. With elevated intelligence, AI becomes a mere multidimensional wisdom. It'll help us rise, elevate. Without elevated intelligence, quantum computing is unstable math. I do a lot of work with quantum computing. So with elevated intelligence, quantum becomes a language for navigating the fabric of existence. This is where we can map out in realms that are that need extra power. That we just don't have, say, the brain capacity to process that information. That's what, if we can train quantum computers, and by the way, that's my X Prize, Google X Prize, training quantum computers to really map out the multi-dimensional realm. Isn't that exciting? But we need intelligent AI. We need intelligent quantum computers. So without elevated intelligence, the space is survival. So with elevated intelligence, space becomes spiritual expansion. So when Elon Musk is like, hey, let's go to Mars, right? Save species. What are we saving it from? Because the disease that we're running away from, we're exporting. So the real mission, again, is elevating our consciousness. And then we can go to, multiplanetary worlds. And that's a real mission. So that's the deeper architecture of evolution. So yes, um, Elon is a disruptor. So am I. Many of you know that. He disrupts external efficiencies. I disrupt consciousness inefficiencies. And here's where it gets clear. It's really cool. Elon has DOGE, Department of Government Efficiencies, but the world needs DOCE. Okay? DOCE. Write it down. DOCE. Okay? So DOGE is rebellion. It broke the system. It mocked centralized control. It challenged the financial illusions, the government system, and that was necessary. But DOGE alone isn't enough, because this is what history has it's shown us before. Every time a great crusader rises, they clean up the mess, only to hand it back to chaos. Think of it. Think of all the great individuals who brought out the truth, who fought for truth, and then what happened? Where are we now? Okay. It's because the consciousness didn't change. It didn't change. And that's where, well, DOCE, D-O-C-E comes in. It's dimensions of consciousness efficiency. So this is the internal revolution. The guarantee that we don't just upgrade tools, we upgrade the user. Because without DOCE, we repeat the same loop, but just faster and faster. So we need both. DOGE to break the system, DOCE to evolve the soul. This is very, it's a fractal universe out there. This is the exact same thing, right? You go to a Tony Robbins event, a Joe Dispenza event, or all those great teachers. But how many of you found out that you need more than just motivation? You need more than just controlling your brain, right? You need the deeper states, the deeper logic that controls you. This is what DOCE is about. Right? Dimensions of consciousness efficiency to evolve. I call it the soul, but it's literally about evolving, say, your natural intelligence, reconnecting to that. So that's the only equation. That's the only equation for real change. It's not reform. It's not rebellion. It literally is a regeneration. This time we got to do it right. So when people, when people try to stop us, whether they attack Elon's factories or they try to erase my name, dismiss my abilities like they have before, deny what they can't comprehend, it fucking doesn't matter. How many of you have gone through that? Doesn't matter. We're not here for their permission. We're here for transformation. Think of it. We're here for transformation. We're here to hold a frequency strong enough to rewrite the future at its source code. So today, just remember this. DOGE is the spark. DOCE is the fire. And if you're going to build a future, make sure you built the future you first. All right, guys, I'm just going to leave you with that. Thanks for being here. Great Masati on Sunday. Next time around, I will be live with you. Right? And we'll get into scanning you all, helping you understand, helping you raise your XIQ level. Just want to show you the beautiful scenery as we end here. Oops. There we go. Let's get rid of it. There we go. What a beautiful view, isn't it? Over here. Yeah, it's an amazing city. Billions of people, guys. Can you imagine the infrastructure that it takes? The food, the plumbing, water, all the systems keep billions of people happy. Kind of crazy, all right? A lot of control, by the way. So talk about that some other time. But just leave you with a beautiful view here. All right, guys. As always, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing.